Now, we have to take this little top clip off. But I'm not going to take it off right yet because it's still under the, it's brand new, so it's still stuck underneath the part of the printer here. So I plugged it in. Here's the Epson cartridges. I'm not going to even put the Epson cartridges. Now, if you have a printer that you've been using, obviously, you want to take those out of the printer. But on this video, I just wanted to go right from, because a lot of times we tell you, put the Epsons in first, check the printer out, and then run it. That you should do that. But I'm going to go directly right with the Incube system. I'm not going to put the Epsons in. Here's the instructions that you're going to get. Always follow the instructions. The videos are old or can change. So we show you everything in the instruction. Color photos, page after page. So basically, just like when we give you, we tell you what parts come in. This, you might see a black one, but then in your kit you might get a white one. The parts can vary, the colors can vary. Okay, I'm going to go over. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to let it do its thing. Then it's going to tell me put the cartridges in, and then it's also going to move over. Okay, I want English. Okay. Press English. US. Okay, I should have done this before doing the video for you. Do not open a scanner, so they want me to shut the scanner. So it's going to take another minute or two, and then we'll go and install that Incube system. The Incube system holds 30% more ink. The ink tank itself is very unique. While that's going through there, I'll explain why. It protects your ink from light and dust. Doesn't require filters. And by the way, any system that gives you these little filters, I would not use the filters because they can cause you a lot of problems. There's a little material in there. If it clogs up, then it shuts down the flow to the printhead and burns your printhead out. So you don't want to do that. We don't use that. I'll take it out of the package, but because you just got it, I'm going to lay it down flat like this. Just like this for a minute or two. Because what I'm doing is equalizing the ink tank here. Okay, let's move over to the printer now. And it says install the cartridges. So you got to open it up. It's going to come over. Now you see it moved away from over here, so I can open this up. I'm going to use a little flat blade screwdriver and go right here. I'm going to wedge it in there and spread it a little bit. I can take this out of my way. You have to take this off. This way the lid will be able to shut after you install the Incube system. Now I'm wearing rubber gloves because there's a chance you can get some ink on your fingers. And if you don't want to get ink on your fingers, then get an inexpensive pair of rubber gloves. I'm going to spread it, and then the cover can come right, you'll be able to lift it right off. Don't throw it away, save it. In case you have to send the printer back, you can put that back on. That's how simple it was to take that off. Okay. Now I've done that. Now I'm going to unbox the Incube here and unwrap the cartridges and put in. Now, the advantage to the CISS Smart Chip, that when one color shows empty, you squeeze the little button on the top here, all your ink levels come back up to full. You don't have to do individual, one at a time. Saves on a lot of over cleaning of the printhead. There again, you can follow that along in the instructions. Now, on some systems, depending on your model, some have a battery, some do not have a battery. It all depends. So when you purchasing it, you tell us what printer you have, and we'll give you the exact, or the correct, I should say, the correct CISS Smart Chip that you need. I'm going to remove the back air vent plugs. Now you notice there's another set of plugs in the back. Do not, and I mean do not, take them out. They're put there for a reason. That is a balancing chamber, and we don't want them to come out. For no reason you should take them out. But you can reach in and you can take these rubber vent plugs out. And in the instructions we tell you how to fill the ink cube. It's very simple. It's like filling your gas tank. There. Now I can close this, and there, it's protected. I can put it next to the printer. Now, I still have the printer on. There again, a lot of times we tell you to shut it off, put it in, and then run hose travel. But I'm just going to get up here. I'm going to set it in. Sometimes you have to do this a couple of times because you cannot recognize the cartridges. That's because they're not in. That's guaranteed that's what it's going to be. And the other thing that you might worry about is when you're taking them out, after you puncture them, there's a poppet valve in the bottom. It shuts the ink off, so ink can't leak all over. So there, we're getting in. I always work from left to right. I always push right on these little round plugs at the top. You know, I start to go in. I don't push on the tabs. I just set it in just like that. Now, you see there's a little air in there. Pay no attention to that. That's actually a good thing. That'll create an air block, which is what we want. So you don't need to purge the system. When you get it, it's all primed, ready to go. And we recommend you install it within 7 days after you get it, because then it's all primed up, it's ready to install. After that time, you might have to do a lot more work like priming and just a lot more things. That's why we tell you to do that. Clicked it in. Now, if your model is the Workforce 7610, 7620, or 7110 Workforce, you're going to see where the bracket goes. A little bit different than the 3600 series. It goes right on the edge, right here. Now, like I said in the early part of the video, it could be white, it could be black. You know, that can vary. Colors can vary. But that's where it's going to go, right there. Then, on this printer, the interlock is way over here. So that's where you can put that plug. And then on the 7110, it's right here. So like I said, sometimes you'll get the plug, sometimes you won't. It depends on the, see now it's checking the ink cartridges. That's it. That's all you, that's the only difference in the 7600 series. Always push a little bit on the top tab. Push down a little bit and push it to the back. Now if I don't have it in right, I'm going to get cannot recognize. Now let me step over here for a minute and show you. With the kit, you're going to get filling syringes with long tips so you can fill the ink cube back up. You get your brackets. Sometimes, like this is a interlock jumper. You don't need it on this printer, but we include it because you might be buying another printer that needs it. It's a special little purge tip. Shows you how to prime the print heads up. That saves you from buying a set of Epson cartridges right there. You know, should you have to have some troubleshooting, you need that little tip. It's awesome. So you got everything, you got the hose brackets. Okay, so let's go back to the printer now. Now I installed it. Now, I just want to see if it's going to recognize. So you can put the bracket, your hose bracket, down on this model, and I'll show you in the next part of the video, the 7610 series. The bracket goes right to the end, just like this. Peel and stick it. And this is the interlock right there. If this from the printer, let me see if I can show you. That goes in, get a better shot here. It's kind of hard to see, they got it buried up there. If that thing goes into the interlock, sometimes you want to leave the top up so you can see what's going on. Well, you can fold up a piece of paper a couple times and stick it in there. or I'm going to just stick this little plug in there. See, now it's going to start to take off when I did that. So I better hold this hose. Just checking the cartridges. See, now it's going to go to initializing. That's without even putting the Epson cartridges in. Now this is going to take up to 6 minutes. And see that little bit of air, it's going to be gone, because it's going to prime everything up. This is how good these COC Smart Chips are. We didn't even have to, brand new printer, didn't even have to put the Epson cartridges in. And the system I'm using now is our Ultra Pro True Color dye base. We also make it in a pigment-based ink. Dye base is great for home use when you don't print every day. Maybe you go 2-3 days without printing. We recommend dye base. But if you do print every day and you want archival waterproof, then get the pigmented ink that we sell system. Now these have pigment ink in them. No ink in them actually, but that has pigment in it. As you can see, it's gone, because that's what it does when it primes up. Now that little bit of air is going to rise, what we call an air brake. So, ink cannot go backwards. We don't need backflow dampers on this system. We don't need double loop hose brackets. Everything is built in to the ink cube itself. It's right in here. You can't see it, but we build it in. Special chambers are built in. It's drawing more ink out. That's a good thing. So this is going to take 6 minutes. So I'm going to shut the camera off for 6 minutes and then we'll come back. Now if your model is the Workforce 7610, 7620, or 7110 Workforce, you're going to see where the bracket goes. A little bit different than the 3600 series. It goes right on the edge, right here. Now, like I said in the early part of the video, it could be white, it could be black. You know, that can vary. Colors can vary. But that's where it's going to go, right there. Then, on this printer, the interlock is way over here. So that's where you can put that plug. And then on the 7110, it's right here. So like I said, sometimes you'll get the plug, sometimes you won't. Main screen up again. Finished with its initial setup. And it looks good. Now I put the bracket down right on the edge here, like that. I let out a little hose so it could go back and forth. Now I still have my jumper in here. Now there again, you can use a piece of paper, or sometimes in your kit you're going to get a little rubber plug. This is just for testing. So I still have to install my outside hose bracket, this little hose bracket on the outside. That'll hold the hose just like that. Then you'll be able to close the lid. Now, this right here, you would not leave that in if you're going to close the lid. If you're doing troubleshooting, you can leave it in and then close it to see if everything is traveling. But basically now we want to do hose travel. Now normally I have you unplug the printer, you know, bring the cartridge over, unplug the printer, and then I can move it by hand. Do not move this while it's under power. You'll damage it. Okay, now, normally what I would do is unplug the printer when the cartridges are over so I can move it. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it just like this. See what I'm showing you? I just let out a little bit. I just want enough for this to go over there and come back. And that applies to any model, any Epson model, because that's called hose travel. I have paper in the one cassette. Say okay. Now there again, if you've already had the Epsons in, you've been printing with it, some of the stuff you can skip. Because normally when you have the Epson's in, I like you to do a nozzle check, make sure your print head's working, because the ink system's not going to fix a print head that's not working, or if you're out of ink in a cartridge. So you want to make sure it's working in good order, then you can put it in. Then I'm going to go to setup. I'll look at ink levels for a second. Everything looks good. I want to point this out. This is your waste box. That's around the back. You have to replace those from time to time. We have them up on our website where you can buy it. Does not need to be replaced. It just resets. It's another little money maker, I think. Okay, I'll say okay. Go to maintenance. Nozzle check. Go to print. Go over here to the print. Now, here's where I can watch the hose travel. I don't want too much. I think that's a little bit too much hose out. Let's see what the first nozzle looks like. Looks very good. Very good. Okay, that's how simple it was to install the ink system. Now what I can do is do that hose travel. I'm going to back up a little bit here. Okay, I said done. Now, if I wanted to do hose travel, I can't do it with the printer plugged in and on like this. So I go over here to maintenance again, and it says ink cartridge replacement. Touch that. Go over here. Now watch the cartridges. They're going to move to what we call the cartridge change position. Just a little bit. Okay, now it says put your hands on the side. Well, I have the plug in, so I got to take that out. See, now it's moving over. Just enough to clear this side right here, so we can take them out. But I'm not going to take them out. I'm going to go unplug the printer, and then we're going to do hose travel. Now I can move this by hand all the way over. Now, I'm pretty close. Still got a little bit too much out here, so I'll pull a little bit more. Like that. This side, so you don't get the slapping on the bottom here. So if too much hose is up there, it smacks against the top of the scanner there. That looks pretty good. I go just a little bit more. There. It's got a nice, then I can install a hose bracket on the outside, and it's nice and straight, just like that. Okay, now I'm going to close without putting the plug back in. That was just did that to show you. Now I can close the lid. That's it. Now I'll plug it in and turn it on. It's going to come on. Now sometimes you'll get cannot recognize, because by unplugging it like that, the printer gets confused. So you have to pick the system up and put it back down. Sometimes it doesn't. It all depends. Depends on models. It depends on a lot of things. It's going through its setup. It's checking the cartridges. It's going back and forth in there. They're not Epson cartridges, that's for sure. But Epson builds it in, and if they're telling you you're not using genuine Epson, the printer may not work. That's not true. But we're going to ignore it. We go to proceed. Like I said, it's annoying, but sometimes you have to go through this. Obviously, you want to say yes. Print nozzle, just say OK, and you're back to the main screen. Now I put sorry, picked up the wrong thing. I put that in the scanner. So I'm going to go to copy. Then you can tell what you want to do. Or you can go to settings. You know, okay, let me go over here to settings. Okay. So here's where you can set two-sided, quality, I leave it on text image, you know, and that everything else should be okay. Come over here to where it says start, because it's color. Press that. I'm sorry, copy, start. You get the blue light blinking, that tells you you've done everything correct. We're making a copy. It's the first copy out of this printer, other than the nozzle test. Now I can leave it open here in a minute, and I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's printing with the hose attached. Here's where I'm going to use that little piece of paper or a jumper. Now it says close the scanner, I know. I could use a folded piece of paper and put it down in there. You can see it triggered it. Or I can, if your kit comes with one of these little blue plugs like that, then you can put that down in there. Okay, now we can watch hose travel go back and forth. So I'm going to do another copy, because I want you to watch this go back and forth. See the hose travel? And there you go. Awesome. Very, very good. That's how simple it was. Now, if you had the 7610 or the 7620, which is the wide format, or the 7110, this little plug would go over here. We don't need it on this model. Or the 3640, 3620, this is not needed. I left it in there. But the only difference between them is on the 7600 series, this bracket is just a little bit wider. That's it. It installs exactly the same way. So whether you have the Workforce 3640, 3620, the Workforce 7610, 7620, and the 7110, the InkCube system installs exactly the same way on a printer you've already used or a printer right out of the box. Take that out and close the lid. That's it. So for more information, go to inkproducts.com.